If you're feeling overwhelmed by the news right now, I want you to know that that is not an accident. In intelligence operations, we have a term that we call information warfare. And in the information warfare battlefield, what you're seeing right now is not chaos, it's something that we call media conditioning. Contrary to what many people believe, most countries in the world can't actually control what their media says about the government. Only in governments with state-sponsored media is that possible. So your democracies across Europe, the United States, most of Latin America, most of Asia actually don't control or have state-sponsored media. So they rely on this process that is called media conditioning. Media conditioning is when the government selectively releases bits of information to the media, knowing that the media will carry that information forward to the public and spin it in whatever way they choose, but it will create a complementary information warfare landscape for what national security ambitions the government is trying to execute. Here's how media conditioning works. It's based on the premise that human beings are fundamentally biologically inclined to actually ask the wrong question first and overlook the correct question most of the time. And that's because human beings are generally focused on asking the question that is most important to us as individuals, forgetting the fact that we are individually part of a larger organism, whether that's a family, a tribe, or even a nation. Right now, many people are asking the question whether or not Donald Trump is telling the truth about Iran, saying that regime change is done, that the conflict is nearly over, and that we have successfully prevented Iran from developing a nuclear weapon. Even while the president is making these claims, we see headlines coming out every day that have a very different message. Stories about thousands of new US troops being deployed into the Middle East. Demands from the Iranian government that they maintain control of the Straits of Hormuz. And the president himself saying that there are still thousands of targets in Iran left for Pete Hegseth and the Department of War to strike alongside Israeli partners. Add to that the fact that Attorney General Pam Bondi just got fired. The Army Chief of Staff got sacked, DNI Tulsi Gabbard may be next on the chopping block, and the IRS has no senior leadership, no IRS commissioner, as we get ready to go into one of the largest tax seasons in American history thanks to the big beautiful bill. For you and me and millions like us, this creates an environment where people's emotions spike. Their attention locks in, but they don't actually take any action because they're too busy waiting, watching, and worrying. Inside that cycle of inaction, people are waiting for answers to their questions, but those answers never arrive because a whole new round of new information breaks. Charlie Kirk's bullet may not match the rifle that the suspect was using. New information about the Epstein case hits the airwaves. New names, new documents, new speculation, and it all hits us at once. Too much information for any individual to be able to process in order to make a choice and take an action. So we get stuck in this continual cycle of inaction. That is the value of media conditioning. Conditioning you to watch, to listen, to read, and not to act. And then, totally unplanned but somehow perfectly on schedule, you have to layer in all of the organic information that goes viral across our modern day information systems. A funny meme, a viral video, a racist statement, someone's public embarrassment. Something natural, something organic, something completely separate from the government takes over and once again spikes your emotional highs and keeps you distracted from doing anything meaningful with your time. This is classic psychological operations 101, misdirection upon misdirection, keeping people stuck in a cycle of listening and learning and watching, but never acting or asking the right questions. The goal isn't to convince you to do any one thing, it's to simply exhaust you to keep you from choosing to do anything else. And that's because exhausted people don't take action. And they especially don't take actions that could contradict or undermine the national security objectives of the country that's trying to protect them. That's the benefit of media conditioning. It not only works for your enemy's population, but it actually works for your own population as well. It keeps both sides of the public from taking any kind of unexpected or unpredictable action that could compromise all of the attention and focus of the government above them. That's media conditioning, and it's worked even before World War I. When you flood the airwaves, whether it's through flyers or radio transmissions, TV shows, or social media apps, you are creating an environment where people want to complain, they want to worry, they want to criticize, they want to argue. but they don't want to take action. Instead, they want to continue to watch and continue to wonder and continue to wait rather than take an action now, because they feel like the environment is so unpredictable and so dynamic that whatever they do today might end up being a waste of their time tomorrow. So they simply sit and wait. Like many other effective psychological operational tactics, the goal behind media conditioning is to make the public feel emotionally numb. Yes, they may feel very angry or very scared, but their actual dynamic difference, the volatility, the delta between their emotional high and their emotional low becomes much, much less. This is very similar to your own physical sense of numbness, where your ability to feel something and your ability to feel nothing become closer and closer. So essentially, whether you're touching something or not touching something, you really don't know because you feel numb. The same thing can happen to you emotionally. When my instructors at CIA taught me this concept, they told me to imagine a half-filled water bottle. Consider this water bottle, half filled with water, the average person of an average life on an average day, and the water inside is their emotions. If you shake that water bottle up, you end up getting tons of splashing, tons of bubbles, water all over the sides of the inside of the bottle. It's a very dynamic and explosive change. If you take that same water bottle and you fill it all the way to the top with water, taking an average person on an average day in an average life and filling them full of emotion, then when you shake that water bottle up, there's much less splashing. There may not be any bubbles, and there's certainly no extra water running down the inside of the water bottle because the person has already been filled with emotions before you shook them up. That's the type of emotional numbness that we're talking about when we discuss media conditioning. For an average person who's not emotionally overwhelmed, small changes can make a big splash. But if you take that same person and you overwhelm them with emotions, the same small changes barely make any splash at all. And when governments are successful at making the public emotionally numb, using this media conditioning process, it makes it easier for them to change policies related to the public, and it makes an environment where accountability virtually disappears. This is not only true in the United States, this is true all across Europe, all across the Middle East, Latin America, and Asia also. It's why you can look at the news anywhere and see headlines that mimic what we have in the United States. I'm in Europe right now celebrating my birthday and the Holy Week of Easter, and I'm seeing the same thing in multiple different languages across headlines in multiple different countries. Every government in the world is in a similar place right now, a place where they need to make massive changes, and they need to make those changes quickly, and they all understand that if their public was fully informed, the public would slow them down. Governments are building newer, more modern, larger militaries than they've built in the past. They're trying to deploy AI into governance. They're dissolving parliaments. They're inventing new technologies. And they need real public issues, the issues that actually affect your future and your wealth and your happiness, to be something that you overlook. And that's where media conditioning is helpful. This is how psychological operations work, how they've always worked, and how they will always work. They hijack attention. They derail focus. They keep you looking in a direction that's contrary to where you should be looking, but is exactly where the government wants you to look. This is exactly how psychological operations work, how they've always worked, and how they will always work. Because the truth is that your focus, your attention is power, not just for you, but also for the governments trying to lead you. And governments worldwide understand that major change is on the horizon. Here in the United States, we have one of the most important midterms of our existence coming up. All across the European Union, democracy is struggling and new policies are being written every week. There are literal bombs going off in the Middle East, and Asia is in an all-out economic war against the West. This is the perfect time for countries to be leaning into media conditioning, because what they don't want is for individuals to take actions now that could undermine the goals and objectives of the governments that manage them. This is not the time that they need someone writing a contentious book. This is not the time that they want somebody creating a new nonprofit that benefits their enemy. This is not the time that people want someone to start a movement that becomes a revolution. In a strange way, we find ourselves in a coordinated but not cooperative effort to keep individuals worldwide from taking specific actions that benefit them. But even as the government may be taking advantage of the media to use it against you, there are still certain areas where you can take action and take control that benefits you tomorrow. And one of those areas is in your wealth, specifically in your plans for personal retirement. And one of the best tools that I have found to build your retirement wealth is something called Block Trust IRA. Block Trust IRA is a government-approved retirement vehicle that allows you to move your retirement account out of the falling US dollar and into fast-rising cryptocurrency markets. Block Trust IRA uses award-winning AI technology that consistently outperforms buy and hold advice that's most likely driving your current retirement account. It's a dedicated 24/7 intelligence asset that's constantly working to maximize your return, minimize your risks, and keep you away from any of the traditional volatility that you see when you hear about cryptocurrency in the headlines. And that's exactly why Block Trust IRA has been voted the #1 crypto technology platform among a group of 1,500 of its peers, and how it has not only outperformed the S&P 500, but actually outperformed Bitcoin itself by more than 250% since 2020. My favorite thing about Block Trust IRA is that it's backed by $200 million in institutional insurance, and it uses military-grade information protocols to protect not only your personal information, but also your investment information. I've already arranged for you to get $2,500 in bonus Bitcoin funding added to your new Block Trust IRA account if you sign up today. All you have to do is click on the top link in the description below or visit edscrypto.com to get started. You may be living through one of the biggest information warfare operations in history, with misinformation and disinformation flying at you all the time. But the fact is that cryptocurrency made 80,000 new millionaires last year, and you could be one of those newly minted millionaires this year if you sign up with Block Trust IRA today. That's not luck. That's a better intelligence asset. And that's an asset that you could have if you click on the top link in the description below or sign up today at edscrypto.com. I'll see you on the other side.